Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50-plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Aurora Workman. I am president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, a proud graduate of Nassau Community College. And together, we'll share stories that will inspire, uplift, and often amuse you.
Each week, Aurora and I will introduce you to alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences here at Nassau Community College, along with the secrets to their success.
Did you know our Alumni Association works diligently to sponsor student scholarships and several fundraisers? We look forward to some amazing work this semester.
Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and our web pages at www.nassaucommunitycollege.edu/alumni. If you, our listening audience, has any positive news you would like to share about Nassau Community College alumni, engagements, births, graduations, weddings, and/or accolades, email us at alumni@nassaucommunitycollege.edu and we will shout you out.
Well, today's guest is Roxana Velardi, class of 1982. Roxana received her associate's degree from Nassau Community College and was accepted to St. John's University in the educational program of Teacher of the Speech and Hearing Handicapped. She decided to pursue Speech and Language Pathology instead of deaf education and later received a master's in Speech and Language from Adelphi University. Roxana is currently a speech pathologist for Uniondale School District for the past 15 years. And we welcome the Lion Tales, Roxana Velardi, class of 1982.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about your decision to attend Nassau Community College.
Well, basically, I didn't know in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I originally wanted to be an educator, but I was kind of talked out of it from a disgruntled teacher because we just had a bad year with a strike in Levittown. So I decided I didn't know what to do, so I decided I would go to Nassau Community College and try to find my way, and I took the liberal arts course.
You know, that's what a lot of our guests and a lot of the alumni have always said. If Nassau wasn't their first choice, but it was their first choice to at least decide to find themselves and to discover what my possibilities are.
Absolutely. And I drove my father crazy because I had a different avenue each week. And I want to do this, Dad. I want to do that. But
that's because Nassau also offers so many different things. You know, it was like, oh, I never thought about this. And so that was one of the things that, you know, is great about being here then and now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what were some of your favorite courses?
Well, the two courses that really stood out to me were I took a genetics class with Dr. Lipschitz, and she made a big impact on me when it came to the sciences. I was always interested in the sciences, and I enjoyed that class. It was you had to go see her at her office, and she didn't have a name on her door. She had her chromosomes instead, so you knew it was her. But she definitely made
the chromosomes of Lipschitz.
Yes. So she basically she made a huge impact. And then my other class was I took ASL, American Sign Language classes, and I
think
really,
that's still very popular on campus.
Oh my gosh,
It is.
I love those classes. I took the first and the second course, and I got very interested in the deaf population from that class.
Yeah, that's really, I think it's something that, it's sort of an art form and it comes and goes, but I think that, I'm not really sure of the percentages of the deaf population, but there is always a need.
Yes. And
so
there's a need even with the special education population. I mean, I haven't, when I started working in Uniondale School District, I was using sign a lot with my students. I haven't used it in the past couple of years, but, I still will tend to go back to it and use it as a visual prompt.
Yeah, I think with verbal and nonverbal communication methods with special needs students, sometimes that really is like an avenue that you could explore to enhance their goals while you are teaching them. So then describe the vibe now in the early 80s, because you're a class of 82, and so when were you actually on campus? What years were you here?
I was here from September of 1980, because I graduated in June of 1980 from high school, until May of 1982.
And what was it like in 80?
I kind of felt it was more of a commuter type of vibe for me, because everybody was going to school and then going home, because everything Nassau was so local to every town in the area. So, but I do remember it was very laid back and it was very friendly. I mean, I met a lot of friends in the classes, and we would know each other during the 2 years that I was going to Nassau. So I definitely, people were hanging out in the quad all the time. It was very laid back.
And I came here in 80, but I came as an evening student.
Okay.
And I remember my professor, Ken Jenkins, saying, what are you here? Because in the evening at that time, it was really adults.
Yes.
And so it was like, why is this little girl sitting in here, at nighttime? I was like, it didn't say. He goes, and then he said, you need to get the college experience. When you come back next semester, come during the day. And I said, look, I got a job, I got a house, he's like, you're 16 at a job and a house. I said, yes, I have responsibilities.
Start early.
There were always people on the quad, throwing a frisbee, football. I remember seeing that all the time. But I was so I got to get to class, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I did, as I should have. But once in a while I did.
Yeah, that is true, because sometimes you just forget to get involved a little bit more, and you think, I could have done that, but you weren't thinking about it. So then, now that you're on the road to teaching and possibly leading you toward your speech pathology. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think what got me back on track with the education is I took an ed psych course here on campus. Loved the course, but one of our we had to do student teaching or a student observation, and I was placed at Millneck Manor School for the Deaf, and fell in love with the students I was working with, and that's also helped that I knew some sign language. And the teacher for that class basically said, because I said I want to be a deaf education, in deaf education now, I want to teach the deaf, and she pointed me towards getting my bachelor's as a teacher of speech and hearing handicap, and then after that I could get my master's in deaf education. So that was the route I took, and I was the only program in this area that had the teacher of speech and hearing handicap was St. John's University. So I was able to transfer all my credits once I graduated to St. John's, and once I was at St. John's and doing clinical work, I fell in love just working with as a speech pathologist. So that's how I decided to become a speech pathologist.
Right. You're listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Roxana Velardi, speech pathologist, an avid hiker, musician, and dog lover. So, after you became a speech pathologist, where was one of the first places that you worked?
I worked for the New York City School.
Yay!
Yeah.
And it was Board of Education at that time. Now it's Department of Education.
Yes. And I worked in 3 schools before I finally left, with maternity leave. I was at PS2, PS 122, and PS 76, District 30. So Long Island City or Astoria.
I think I went to PS 150 as a kid, so I think it was District 30 at that time.
Yeah.
Well, it probably was.
I think they changed it now, right?
Yeah, they did, but I think they may go back to districts. They redistrict. Just to confuse everyone.
Yeah.
So, talking about being a dog lover, have you done work with the rescue dogs? Is that what it was about?
I don't work with the rescues. I am involved with some rescues when it comes to fundraising. One stands out as Fur Babies. But I also got my dog from Fur Babies 5 years ago, and but all my dogs that I've had, I've always adopted. I'm an advocate for adoption, as and against the
So
breeding that we have.
I love my dogs.
Yeah.
I've rescued over in Port Washington, and I love that center. I always donate
North
to
Shore.
the North Shore because I've found all my beautiful babies have come from there. And even though it's like I have adopted some who were older, and so the life term expectancy wasn't as long, but I really love them. I'm like, well, they need to be at home then, they need to be with someone that loves them. So I really love that area over there.
Yeah.
So what kind of dogs do you own?
Well, the two dogs that I got from North Shore was a Beagle and a German Shepherd Lab mix. The one I currently have now is a Black Lab, and I got him from Fur Babies, and I've had them, the other two I had until 15, 16 years.
Wow.
And I think the life expectancy is better on the Shepherds and the Labs, but some of the the purebreds like the Yorkies, they might not have a longer life expectancy.
Yeah.
But it is an amazing thing because people do adopting a dog is like having a child.
Yeah.
I mean, they really want you to
big
be serious about it.
Yes.
Right? They do sort of like a background check and make sure that you're not going to leave the dog in the house all day while you're working.
They call a neighbor to make sure if whoever your reference
remember
is.
that.
They call a neighbor to make sure.
Yeah. And they still do that.
Still do it,
and they ask for your vet because they want to speak to the vet.
And they want to make sure that you're at least taking that care,
Right.
So I always just used the place in Uniondale on Hempstead Turnpike. I mean, it used to be the only animal hospital that I was familiar with because my dad used to take the dogs down there. So but I love my dog.
Yeah, I love my dogs too.
So getting back to working as a speech pathologist, we've noticed that a lot of students now are, when they're classified, they're usually classified speech and language impaired. So what are you seeing as a person working in the field now with young children coming into the schools and how we can best service them with their speech and language needs?
Well, it's very important if a parent sees that there's an issue with their child. It's the early intervention is the way to go. That usually starts from birth to 3, and then there's the CPSC, which is the Committee of Preschool. So I totally advocate for, if a parent sees something, say something, get your child evaluated. I'm a strong believer in early intervention.
Yes.
The sooner we can get your child's services, there's a good chance that in a couple of years the child won't need the services anymore. So
it's really interesting because you do see that most classifications are related to speech and language. And what about parents that sort of kind of remain in denial until the child's maybe 4 or 5, and then is it more difficult to correct certain aspects of language?
Definitely, we can't compare each child. Each child is different. So some children will definitely have a slight delay because they're starting late. Some children just pick up really fast too. So it all depends on the child and also the parental involvement.
Right.
It's like I have parents that won't work with their child at home, and it's so the only services they're getting is through me
when they come to school.
Right. And, so it's so important that parents are working with you as well.
Right. Yeah, and I guess we see, how quickly do you see progress with a child that maybe wasn't speaking at all for whatever reason? Maybe we don't even know what the reason is.
When you're saying that, I just think of one child that I had that came in to my school as a kindergartner. He was nonverbal, and I worked with him. He came in with a augmentative communication device, and I worked with him. We did a lot of a lot of training when it came to like syllabic drills, just getting him to verbalize even syllables and everything. And he did really well. I mean, the next year we couldn't get him to stop talking.
You are listening to Lion Tales. Today's guest, Roxana Velardi, is a speech pathologist for the Uniondale School District and is an avid crocheter and scrapbooker. She loves refurbishing items and is even a great cook and baker. My name is Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. That's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is Roxana Velardi, a speech pathologist and proud alum of Nassau Community College. So tell us about your love of music and working with the worship team through your church.
Well, I've been singing since third grade. I was in the chorus in third grade all the way through my senior year of high school. I was involved with the theater in the high school. I started at 8th grade. I wasn't usually. They don't allow 8th graders. You have to wait till you're in 9th or 10th grade to be in the theater production, but they allowed me in there, and it was such a great experience. I also started playing the flute officially in 7th grade. They had a beginner's course for 7th graders who wanted to learn an instrument, so I did that, and I loved it. I still tinker with the flute. After 30 years, I picked it up again, had it overhauled, and started playing with it again, and then I play the ukulele, and the worship team. When in both my churches, I've been on the worship team, and I sing like backup vocals, and once in a while I get to sing a song on my own. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And now, so who are some of the people in music that inspired you to get involved, even when you were younger, like starting with the flute? I mean, I know they offer band instruments to students, but what were you listening to at the time?
A lot of rock and roll. Definitely rock and roll. The Beatles is one of the things I love. Tom Petty and Fleetwood Mac. I would listen to. They inspired me a lot. I would love playing their music all the time. Rush was another one. I loved Rush.
Wow, Well, that's a good, sort of, dynamic of different artists that all sort of, every time I hear Petty or I hear Beatles and I hear, those first chords, and I always say, oh, that sounds like Petty. But Petty was listening to the Beatles because he was a little bit younger than they were.
So do your kids look at you like my kids look at me when we're enjoying our music from our day, and we start to, and I start to move, and my daughter's like, oh, stop embarrassing me.
Yes, but it's funny that both my sons, and especially more my older son, they're both into music as well. My oldest is a guitar player. My youngest is a drummer, and I actually remember taking them to a Rush concert with me, and it was like I embarrassed them there because I couldn't sit down. But I got them into. They love the Beatles, and they love a lot of the music that I like to listen to. And then they went off on their own. They went into the more of the Motorhead and the Metallica songs and stuff like that. Even some of the songs are good, but not my style. But
and now both of your sons actually attended Nassau Community College, with one of them graduating from here.
Yes,
and then
did.
So did you encourage them to attend? And what are they doing now?
Absolutely, because of course, both of them didn't know what they wanted. And I said, well, you need to go to Nassau, at least get your liberal arts and find your way. And then once you decide what you want to do, at least you have your liberal arts taken care of when you transfer.
True.
And my oldest son, Peter, is currently now he's working full time at Lowe's. He loves it there. My youngest decided he wanted to be a nurse, an RN, so he's currently a nurse at Stony Brook University Hospital.
Wonderful. And so it's like you're both now alums of Nassau Community College, and how cool is that?
Yeah, it is cool.
I always tell my daughter just graduated in May from here.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Jalen.
So I'm sitting there and I was like, so now we have something in common. I was like, we both graduated from the same college. And I think that's a identity for having a community college.
Yes.
And having generations come here. Because even when we sit out or we meet people, it's generations of families that have come through Nassau Community College. And even just to decide what you want to decide on.
Absolutely.
And so it's really been a good stepping stone for that area.
Yeah, we had a college fair last week, and so Roxanne and I were standing in the vestibule at school because Roxanne is my speech pathologist, and I did not know that she attended Nassau. So then we just started talking about it, and then now she's a guest on the show because of that. Because again, it's sort of like word of mouth.
Yes.
And it just, you kind of stumble upon it. Oh my God, you went to Nassau.
Yeah.
And that's the way Nassau has built its reputation. Has been on from one student going or having a friend and saying, okay, well, why don't we both do this? I mean, I came here because my mom bet me $100 if I just would go for money.
Just try it.
Because I was going to California. I was accepted to Berkeley in California. I wanted to get way on the West Coast and do some writing and stuff like that. And then my dad was killed, and so she's like, well, why don't you stay here? And she goes, $100 if you go one semester, and then I was like, wow, that's a lot of money for me, and I went, and I never looked back.
Right.
I never went back.
Coming out with your liberal arts, like that many credits, 67 to 72 credits, and they really do transfer, and you're so well-rounded when you go to the next level. When you get to a 4-year school, and then you find that the coursework at the 4-year school is not really as challenging as some of your liberal arts classes that you did have here.
And back when I graduated, it was important that I had, a degree. It was like, because a lot of the colleges would accept less credits if you didn't graduate. And if you graduated, they accepted all.
Right.
And so that was an incentive for me as well. I was like, all right, I need to graduate.
Well, how well prepared did you feel you were after you left Nassau when you went to St. John's?
Nassau really prepared me, especially with the education, when it came to transferring, and that it helped me. It basically... It opened the door for me. And so when I did go to St. John's, I did have at least some background knowledge of what I wanted to do. And so I felt Nassau definitely prepared me for that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Roxana Velardi, a speech pathologist in the Uniondale School District and a proud alum of Nassau Community College. Now, we all have a connection to Uniondale.
Yes.
You're strong. I'm a graduate. I'm a product of Uniondale School Districts. I graduated from Uniondale High School. My children now attended Uniondale all the way through to graduation, with the last one being there. But and I always tell them, because they're like, do you know everybody? I said, well, that's what happens when you go to school and you grow up where your mom grew up. You just seem to have that.
You know everybody.
You know everybody, especially the ones who stay. We all know each other. And so coming to Uniondale, you came from Levittown, isn't it?
I lived in Levittown until I got married in 1984,
And so what kind of community, what would you say Uniondale community?
I love Uniondale. It's a great community. You have parents who are very vocal and very active, and they advocate for their children.
They do. That's true. And, I think that's sort of like people have perceptions of different communities, but we actually have really great relationships with our parent population and with the families. And every time we have an event, you see that when the families come out and it's a fun night and it's a fun event, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
When it's a boring meeting, they're like, oh, no.
But they still come out.
Yeah, they're like, where's the DJ? What? Yeah, they want to just have fun,
Yeah.
I think that's important, too, that you have fun with the family and the teachers. We love to kind of hang out and just calm down and chill out there together.
Yeah. Some of the things that we know, if we're transitioning from a district where everyone is involved to having come to Nassau Community College, one thing I lost was, I'm like, my mom stopped asking me, do I have homework? It's and that transition for me was like, don't you care? Don't you care? She's like, I care enough to pay your bill. But I loved coming from a community that had concern to coming to a Nassau where the community of teachers was really involved. I mean, it wasn't just going to class. I had my mentor, and he stayed my mentor, again, Professor Ken Jenkins, throughout my whole life,
right.
Until his death last year. So we stay in touch. You can come back here, and it's surprising how many faculty members, when they're still here, they remember you, if not by your total name, they remember you in class.
Yeah, they remember you, yeah.
They remember
you look
something.
familiar.
It's like, weren't you in my... I'm like, wow.
Did you come late?
So it's really a good thing. So what are some of the other things that you like to do, Roxana?
Well, I definitely love... currently, I've been refurbishing things. I've been, my husband and I, we bought a house up in New Hampshire, so it was like an old 100-year-old house. So all of a sudden, I've been furniture on the side of the road, and I've been picking it up, and I've been refurbishing
One man's
them.
garbage is another man's gold.
That's right. So I've been so into that. I definitely love. Love to bake. I like to make sourdough bread.
Ooh.
So that keeps me.
How many
busy.
points in that bread?
Oh my gosh, I don't count. Well, it should be low because it's fermented.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to keep myself busy with that. I just started knitting again. I have to get ready for Christmas presents, so I'm doing that. But I love doing that, and just being with my dog and hiking. I like to hike a lot, and yeah.
And that's all of us have. One of the things that's in common with our guests is that we've all have done that. We've refurbished. We've taken on different talents, which is so amazing to us. That we all have these common things that we do on the side.
Yeah, and everyone has this interest level of something special.
And so, but it has been so wonderful talking to you, Roxana.
Thank you.
Roxana is the class of 1982. We'd like to thank her for coming here today.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, President of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit nassaucommunitycollege.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you next week.